Yes, Hickok 45 here, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beginning to bloom hills of Tennessee, the home of some tough guys, okay? Caleb Plant, Alvin York, Buford Pusser. I picked out some tough guys from my list, didn't I? So, yeah, you're here and I'm here and glad you're here. It's Tennessee, and as you can see, it's beginning to, I guess you can see, get a little green out here. In some areas it's much greener, but what you're looking into is kind of in the woods. So you will see a huge difference, I think, next week. Yeah, as I'm looking around, I'm seeing a green field, you know, so, but this is mostly leaf covered, and then you're relying on some of those larger trees to be blooming out. Here I go, more free information. Larger trees generally are later budding out than smaller trees, okay? Yep, that's my old botanist training coming back. So anyway, yeah, we're beginning to green. Look at me, short sleeve shirt. I haven't had a short sleeve shirt on except when we were in Florida a few weeks ago. You know, down there, it broke out the short sleeve shirt, of course, and because it was 80 degrees, but it's very warm today as well. And we'll get a little bit of back and forth, but I think we're out of the woods now in terms of really cold weather. You should not see me out here shivering and sniffling again, knock on wood. I hope. So yeah, good to be here another week. You know, yeah, you never know. Here I am, and here you are, right? Most of you probably lost a few viewers over the week. What do you think? I don't know. And I'm talking about tragic losses. I'm sure we're always losing and gaining, as everybody is, but we have a large net gain, but I'm sure we upset somebody, you know, and they go away. And it's funny, you see people occasionally, I see a comment about somebody being upset about something that's like, wow, sorry, but there's nothing I can do for you. Not getting some obvious humor. What was it? Did I talk about that last week? Somebody, I saw a comment, was just really upset about, oh, I know what it was, yeah. Did I talk about that last week, did I? Making a joke, that's right, making a joke. Well, I won't go into it, it was kind of a local thing, but just some people have no sense of humor and don't, not only do they not have a sense of humor, they don't have the, I don't know, what is it, intelligence, the common sense to see when somebody is making a joke, even if it's not funny, you know, when it's obviously a joke, you know, that's what perplexes me sometimes, but not too often. Most people get my lame jokes, they're just not very funny, right? So anyway, good to see you here, and man, it's another week and a change in weather, kind of fun. You saw what I had out here, the Schofield. It just came to me in a dream. I haven't shot my old 45 Colt Schofield lately. You've not seen it lately, although maybe you'd like to see it. I had a lot of choices today. I was, you know, nice day. I had 4 or 5 things I kind of wanted to get out and shoot, and I'll do that this week and next week, but today it's the old Schofield that I'm appreciating, I'm savoring and enjoying, okay? And those are the first shots I've taken with it, and I don't know when, probably a video we did, maybe a Sunday video. I think I had it out on a Sunday 6 months ago or a year ago or sometime as I recall, and it's been a while, but I risked taking a shot at the gongs. You notice I hit it. The sights are a little bit different, big V notch, but laid it in there, cool. The biggest surprise I get sometimes is elevation. If I haven't firing for a while, depending on what ammo I'm shooting and the sights and everything, and so it's a little bit risky taking a shot at the gong. Not risky, but you know, I may miss it because I don't know. You got to know where to hold. The further you get, here we go again, physics lessons, the smaller the target and or the further away it is, the more difficult it is to hit sometimes, okay? The more precisely your sights need to be aligned, and the more important it is that you know where to hold the further away it is and the smaller it is. Yeah, but that's a newsflash to a lot of you, right? So anyway, so yeah, I hit the target. You may have, I don't know if you can see as well without a close-up. Those shots look like doubles. Like, wow, you're shooting 2 bullets at a time there. What that is, those were some of my hand loads. 45. Many of you already know this. I load my hand loads. I load a cardboard wad behind the bullet just to reduce leading. And I got to doing that when I was loading black powder cartridges for cowboy action shooting. I shot frontier cartridge class, and it was great. It helped keep the bore clean and less lead and even powder residue to some extent and everything. And I got to where I was doing it with modern powder too. So why not? You know, trying to load 10,000 rounds a day, or anyway, it takes a little more time. But I had the wads, so I started putting them in my modern loads. So whenever you see me shooting a hand load 45 Colt or a, let's see, I use those on something else, don't I? 45-70, yeah. You're not likely to see those, but because I'm not shooting up as close on paper. Well, it might be, but you may see a wad go out, okay, and a little fire and that kind of thing. So doesn't hurt a thing. It's great. It's kind of a gas check, as they call it. They make these little metal, I guess they're made of tin or something, that are called gas checks. You can get bullets that are made, usually it's cast bullets, of course. There's a jacket, here I go again, free information. A jacketed bullet has its own gas check, duh. You're not going to melt the lead on the base of the bullet as it's heating up and moving out the barrel, causing the barrel to lead more, okay? It's a jacketed bullet, right? So, but with a cast bullet, lead cast bullet with no jacket, what you're doing with a gas check, as it's called, you're checking the gases, the hot gases behind the bullet from the powder that not only propel the bullet, but they melt the back of the bullet, you know, and get some lead, liquid lead, whatever, and increase the leading in the barrel, the rifling. All right. Wow. I need to invoice everybody for that piece of information. So that acts as kind of a gas check, kind of a poor man's, or not poor man, I'm not a poor man, but it's just, I don't know, kind of a gas check. Well, I'll tell you, it's a lazy man's gas check in some ways, because the gas check requires a different bullet usually, because you don't want to add to the diameter of the back of the bullet. And so cast bullets that are designed to take a gas check, they usually have a little indention in the back of your ring, so you know, the back is not quite as large in diameter as the other part of the bullet, the bearing surface of it, because that gas check is going to fit over the back base of the bullet. All right. Whew, boy, a lot of information I didn't even know I was going to get into. But when I saw those hits, I thought, well, now somebody's going to think I'm shooting a shotgun at that, that thing, because that's what happens sometimes. You notice in videos we're shooting a shotgun at the target, paper target. There'll be 2 or 3 holes or something. What was he shooting? You know, and it's the wad, you know, in that case, of course. And shotgun wad's a big old plastic thing, so it's going somewhere, and you'll go through that cardboard and everything without any trouble. Talent Drifts, man. Everybody's helping us out. And Fun Gun Targets, the folks who make these paper targets for us, okay? Great folks down in Birmingham, Fun Gun Targets, we appreciate their help. Clarksville Gun and Knife, that ship in my guns for me, you know, that we get from buds or whoever. So we get a lot of help. And then we get help from people that watch these stupid videos. All right, get up on a Sunday morning and watch these videos, even on an Easter Sunday morning for some of you, right? Because it is Easter for a lot of people around the planet, you know. So congratulations on that. Remember, of course, it's not Easter for everybody. Now, that could start an argument, couldn't it? It's because a lot of people would say, well, it's Easter, whether you think it's Easter or not, or whether you are a believer in my religion or not, it's Easter, you know, and all that kind of, so that could open up a whole kettle of argument of worms, couldn't it? But let's just all be very tolerant of each other. That's the most important thing. Lots of different religions, lots of different beliefs, and hopefully we all believe in being kind to each other and not being mean. not being unnecessarily a troll on the internet or in person or anything. That would be, there we go, I'm gonna start a new religion. Stamping out hate, stamp out trolls, stamp out. So anyway, yeah, it's Easter for a lot of you, celebrating Easter. And hopefully you're celebrating watching some shooting, this morning or this afternoon or whenever it is that you're watching. Okay. What do I know? Nothing. I'm gonna shoot this gun again. Let's shoot some of this fine federal ammo. 45 Colt. Like I said, now this has this is a soft point bullet. It's a jacketed soft point. This is called. Okay, right? Jacketed soft point. Don't want to mislead you. JSP, jacketed soft point. You got jacketed hollow points. A bullet just like this, but it's a hollow point. This is a jacketed soft point. It's not a hollow point. Okay, and it's got the lead showing up there, but it's wrapped in copper, I guess, up to that point. So you're not going to get the base of the bullet getting hot and melted right on the way out. Okay, so you shouldn't get leading when you're shooting a bullet like this at all. So anyway, we appreciate these jacketed soft point bullets. Let's shoot a couple of them. We'll load 5 and stay in the tradition. See that? Again, the Schofield breaks open. It's a top break, and it's a little different. I still haven't gotten used to the Schofield. You don't get the clicks and the notches like on the bolt with a Colt. And there we go. All right, let's shoot something like the cowboy. We got to shoot the cowboy. Yeah, with a 45 Colt. No doubt about that. Maybe a bowling pin. Woo! Well, I just wounded him barely, I guess. All right. Uh-oh, don't you blow over. Ow, I put a bullet in you. All right. Well, I let him blow. I shot him. And then your Schofield, of course, it opens up. You've seen this, how it works. And all the empties come flying out. Let's get them on the table. There we go, so I don't have to pick them up off the ground. There you go. So we're empty. And so one of the claims to fame of the Smith & Wesson, the number 3, the Schofield, this line of pistols, revolvers, a little faster to reload. And a lot of people still don't understand, why didn't everybody carry one of these? You could load that so much more easily and everything. Yeah, unload it, load it a little faster and everything. But when it comes down to it, it's like modern guns. Whatever feels best to you and that you shoot the best is the most practical. There's so many things that go into that equation. How it feels, how it handles, the durability, expense of it, how you carry it, the size, the grip, most important thing, a defensive handgun, first couple of shots, reloading is, that's down the line, may never happen, Again, I'm always quoting, I think, I'm probably misquoting Tom Givens, that is. So when somebody said, you'll run out of ammo, you'll run out of time before you run out of ammo, okay? You'll run out of time before you run out of ammo, most likely. All right, so, and, so spending hours and hours and hours trying to take 1/10 of a second off your speed reload from a defensive standpoint, it might not be the best use of your time, it hurt. Now, if you're going to a lot of shooting matches, it's a different matter, maybe. So, just something to think about. So, yeah, man. Let me remind everybody too about the Imposters I talked about last week. If you weren't watching last week, why not go back and catch it? There's always somebody impostering me, posing as me on Facebook or YouTube or somewhere, or stealing stuff. Just be aware of that. We don't do anything crazy. We're never going to be contacting you to try to sell you something or use my name to contact you to some crazy scheme or that. I'll tell you that. So I'm gonna load this up again, can I? I might shoot some more of these wadded bullets. Cool. And these were, of course, Colonel Schofield, forget now, came up with this latch and everything, or the Model 3 Smith & Wesson, so that cavalry could load this more easily with one hand. Because you got a horse you're trying to hang on to and all that. Loading a Colt single action is a little troublesome. But too bad about the folks in New York. Of course, the incident there. Just mind their own business, going to work, in the morning. Shame. But ain't it like it usually is for things like that? It's some goofball that's got some crazy history already on the FBI watch list, and violent rants, and kind of goofy stuff. So it's usually somebody like that, not always, but you look into the history of people that do really crazy things, and it's generally not the first time they've done it, right? One of the weird things about that, I'm always watching the way they phrase things. There was a headline on one of the news feeds I saw. It said, "Source reveals where shooting suspect purchased the gun." They always make a huge deal out of where the gun was acquired, where it was purchased, and that kind of thing. And I've talked about this before. It's getting windy out here. Hope it doesn't get too windy, other than my wind talking too much. But again, it's so. It's almost like fretting over where someone got a baseball bat if they beat some people to death, or a brick, or a knife, and making a big deal out of where they acquired that brick. Was it at Home Depot? Which Home Depot? Was it a construction site? Who let that brick be randomly available, or that knife or whatever? Man, if somebody wants a knife, a gun, a brick, a bat, or has evil intent, they're going to do it. It really becomes irrelevant, where they got it. They got the car to run over people or whatever it might be. I do understand the rationale in tracing it to, and I was watching a news conference when I was saying, oh no, here they go again. It was the ATF agent talking about it, and tracing the life of this Glock. Like, oh my God, here we are focusing on the gun and gun violence, like there is such a thing. But they were really talking about, I guess, in context of getting it attached to him so that they could, indict him and charge him and, kind of confirm that he was a shooter, because it was pretty obvious that that's the gun that was used. Obviously, they can prove that, and that he is the one who purchased it on such and such and date many years ago at such and such gun shop or pawn shop or whatever it is. So I understand that, getting that link for the proof, for the case. I understand that, and I know that's what the ATF does, because years ago there was a firearm used in a crime that was traced back. It was funny. It was a friend of mine in Murfreesboro had owned it. And he was going to lend it to us for a video. We just never did get around to borrowing it. We would have. And he traded it back to the gun shop, I think Murfreesboro or something, and it ended up being used in a shooting, a pretty serious shooting in Chattanooga. Yes, it was, yeah. And so they traced that back, and they talked to him and everybody, who had owned it. But mainly they're trying to make sure get the paper trail to tie it to the person, I guess, for evidence to make a case in most cases. But often it sounds like, just from the news reports on this issue, whenever they're talking about the gun, where did you get that gun? Where did you get that ammo? Where did you get this or that? It makes it sound like, wow, wherever he got it, those people are in trouble. No, they're not. Perfectly legitimate gun deal or whatever, or selling a firearm or selling ammo or whatever it might be, or trading. It's just, we're not responsible for the idiocy in the world or the crazies out there. If I sell my car to somebody that runs over 12 people, sorry, I'm not crazy. I'm sure sorry he is. He didn't appear crazy. But anyway, it's too bad about that. People mind their own business. Just doing what they do, what they wanted to do. Gosh, can I shoot again? Okay, let's do it. Since I have it loaded. All right. Let's shoot some orange fructose. Yeah, blow some of that stuff up. Oh man. How about another cowboy? Well, let's see if I hit the gong again. Make sure that's not a fluke. Yep, must have been a fluke. Do you remember where I was holding on that other hit? We'll see if we can duplicate it. Oh man. So we got to hit the gong. Do I have any advice? No. Last week we talked about the music. There were a lot of interesting comments I saw about the, who knew the last good music would be, Led Zeppelin, all that discussion I had, and my childhood, and a lot of you all had a similar childhood. I heard from a lot of people who feel like they grew up during the best time too, in this past century, or whatever. But we're all biased, right? But the other thing is, in talking about how, who knew that was, that I had such a great childhood. At least the environment and everything was just freer, more conducive to, I don't know, growth, creativity, maybe. I don't know, less craziness and everything. But you need to, a lot of people, if they're not careful, they're always living for the future, and they're not paying attention to the present either. And that's kind of thing you have to be careful of, because you might just not realize, like I said, like who knew? You sometimes don't realize that you're living in a good time, and don't even appreciate it, because you're looking to the future when you get to be an adult or an older teenager, or when you get that next job, or you get married, or whatever it might be. And we're never really living in the present. Sometimes we're always looking to that next thing, and considering what's going on right now as being substandard. And terrible life. I'm just a dumb teenager, a dumb kid. I'm whatever. I don't have a good job yet, or I don't have yet, whatever I'm not able to do yet, And we get focused on that negative aspect of the present, and we're never really living in the present, consequently, and enjoying it and savoring it, experiencing it. It's part of our life, whatever period of time it is. If you're 10, you're 20, or you're 50, or 30, or whatever you are, or 80, that is the time. You won't be that age again, and circumstances you're in will change. Believe me, they will change. And you may wish you could get it back. It may never be better than it is right now. You don't even know that. We don't know. But it's really easy to live in the future, isn't it? And then just consider what we're doing now is we're just on the way to somewhere. You live your whole life like that, and you're always on the way to somewhere, the next step, and you don't really live in the present and experience it necessarily. You're always thinking about what's going to happen next. So be careful of that. Be careful of that. So my own cornball philosophy. I saw a meme this week. Kind of reminded me, experiencing the present, or whatever it is you're seeing or experiencing. It was you may have seen it. It was I don't even know where it was. I guess there was a lot of people at some event, and you're seeing them they're facing me, and they're looking at something interesting, or whatever it is. I think there's a rope. They're roped off, I think, and everybody's got their phone, and they're working on their phone, they're trying to film it or get picture. Literally every adult, everybody in that crowd, and almost humorous. And then there's this little gray-haired lady, little old gray-haired lady, down right by the rope, and she had no phone, and she was just looking at it, soaking it in, whatever it was, And I thought, well, that was great. I forgot what the line or caption was on it, but I've talked about that before. One of my favorite scenes in Persig's Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance is how he talks about that. I think it was at the Grand Canyon or somewhere, some overlook or whatever. And he and his son had gotten to that point and wanted to look at it. And it was almost ruined for him because everybody was fighting each other to get their camera and get pictures of it and everything. And rather than just kind of enjoy it and soak it up and see it with their own eyes and experience it, And I remember reading that in 1981 and thinking, yep, that's right. We're all guilty of that at times, especially now, where we're all carrying our own phone and movie camera in our pocket, right? And camera and recorder, obviously. So, but anyway, just a thought, which probably means nothing to you. So can I shoot again? All right, we're loaded. Let me open her up. Yeah, got some good old Federal ammo in here. Let's shoot something before it gets too windy to shoot. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to shoot the gong again, wasn't I? All right. Okay, let's bring her down a hair. Okay, I think I remember where I held. Let me try that again. Yeah, I might have a little flinch eyes today. I kind of jerked on that one. Okay, I think I do know where to hold those. All right, these are cool, no doubt about it. No, it's never really too windy to shoot to enjoy firearms. It's not it's the filming of it, as you all know. Get too much wind noise in the camera, that kind of thing. Try to avoid that. It's too bad. Although we don't worry too much, as you well know, about our production value. A lot of people obsess over that. We never have. Probably should, right? But yeah, the wind messes that. If it gets too windy, it can be obnoxious. It really can. So, yeah, I'm still drinking the sparkling water. No soft drinks for, I don't know how long it's been now, a couple of months. And still good on the weight. Yeah, I'll always be good on the weight unless I change my diet, and I don't plan to do that. So I'm for those who don't know, I've come down a good bit. I know where I was my heaviest about 3-4 years ago before I decided, man, I got to do something about this. Why am I so heavy? I was up at about 265 or 270. And being 6'8", I can carry a lot of weight, so people didn't look at me and think, wow, there's a big fat guy. I don't think. Well, you can look at the old videos, though, and you can see that I was pretty heavy, and some of those. I wasn't, like some gigantic guy or anything, but I was overweight. Yeah, I'd admit it, and I could see that, and so I got down during that period of time just by limiting my eating and not eating after 2 o'clock and that kind of thing, p.m. And I lost a lot. Then I gained it back, because I really didn't change what I was eating. I was just eating less of it, and then I didn't realize it at the time, but that not eating after 2 created a fasting period of time. That was really intermittently fasting, which is great thing to do. I didn't realize that until the next morning, and so that's what was saving me and was helping me lose the weight. Even though I was still drinking soft drinks and eating sugary stuff and grains and all that, but changing to more of a keto diet, Yeah, I almost don't even have to think about it. I can eat all I want, really, as long as I'm eating the right stuff, and I'm not drinking sugar water, and fake sugar water, whatever, any of that kind of stuff. So it's the grains, the sweets, and grains, sweets, starches. You get those out of your diet and eat all the other stuff you want. Yeah, I know what a lot of people are thinking. They're thinking, well, yeah, there's nothing left to eat that I want. I don't know. It depends on what you eat. You eat all the meat you want, and healthy veggies, low carb, but you eat there's a lot of good veggies. I've been fortunate because I've always liked vegetables, and so that's been the biggest change for me. Because I used to eat less meat and more veggies, and just knew that was the best way to do it, of course, since we all got indoctrinated that way. But I kind of shifted a little more to where I don't feel like I have to eat a lot of vegetables. So I try to make sure they're really the good ones, the broccoli or Brussels sprouts, some that are lower carb and also rich in nutrients, that sort of thing, and then I eat more meat. But anyway, enough about me. Y'all know about the keto. You can do the research on that. Go listen to Dr. Ken Berry. He's a good one. Has a lot of videos out there, and you can pick up a lot from him very, very quickly. But and others, I've mentioned their names in other videos, and then you agree or don't agree. The research is out there now. It's interesting. So many things that we were told back in the 70s and the 80s, and by the people who ran the world of nutrition, which is basically the food producers, those folks who make all the cereals and everything. And anyway, I kind of bought into a lot of that too. It made sense to me. So what am I going to talk about before I shoot again? Anything important? How about, let's shoot a couple more of these hand loads. If I've got an extra wad in there, then I've got two things going to the gong. Maybe I'll hit it more easily. I've got the bullet plus the wad. That ain't right, is it? The wad will never get that far. And if it did, you wouldn't hear it or see it. So do I have any advice for youngsters? Probably not. Well, how about just appreciate, it's Easter, just appreciate your family and your friends and all your acquaintances and your life, and be grateful for whatever's going right for you. There's always things not going right for us, right? Because it can change in a heartbeat. It was, basically today, 24 years ago, I was teaching at the time, went in for a normal day, and was busy. I always went in real early, got a lot of work done, and kids started showing up, in an hour or so, and was involved in a computer program and project and all that stuff. Halls were filling up, and then I don't remember how, there was a little office down the hall that this was like, again, 94. We were setting up a modem and a computer in there for students to use, because we had a laptop program going by then with my class. And I was in that little office under a table, climb under there, trying to get a modem attached, and a modem. Okay, so kids would have access to the internet there in that little office. I think it was a dial-up modem. Maybe it was the high speed, but I was messing with that. Okay, normal day. It was very close to the first period, homeroom about to begin. And our secretary, Betty, comes down the hall, worked with her for years, and said that my niece was on the phone. And I said, what? I didn't know she even knew where I taught. How's she on the phone? And so I kind of climbed out of there, perplexed, and she was standing there and waiting for me, and kind of escorted me down the hall, and something didn't seem right. I didn't know what was going on. There's a million things were going through my head. I remember being kind of slow motion, like like I was in a dream walking down the hall with her to the phone. This is pre-cell phones, and it finally hit me, something must not be right for her to somehow gotten the number here and be calling here this morning before 8 o'clock. And my brother must have had an accident or something, whatever. But anyway, I got on the phone and it was her, and my dad was in the hospital, and everything. Wow, so it just hit, it was a sudden thing, and so I couldn't think, clearly hardly, and I just, okay, well, my God, I got classes going on. What do I do? I got to go north, 3 hours or 300 miles away, and I got to figure out what I can leave for the kids, the students, and so I sort of did that just mechanically. You're sort of on autopilot and setting up some stuff real quickly for a couple of days that a substitute can do, and told secretary, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go, and so anyway, I got in the truck and headed north, and of course I didn't make it. Dad was gone by the time I got there, and but I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen today or tomorrow or the next day, next week, May the 13th, June the 29th, or July the 17th. You don't know what the day is going to be, that there's going to be some gigantic loss in your family, a neighbor, your friend, maybe your very best friend, maybe you find out you got cancer, next Monday or something, I mean, not to be morbid about all this, but I mean, really, really appreciate what you got and what's going on. And we all think we have, something that's not going right? Everybody does. And maybe for some people, a lot's not going right. And you're down, you're depressed, whatever. Well, guess what? It can always be worse. It can always be worse. And I tell you, I get reminded every now and then, it happens, and I think, oh man, I got too much to do with this and that, and getting bothered. It happened the last couple of weeks, just on a couple of things. Broke a tooth, and was like 3 days getting that fixed, and had a flat tire the other day, which I never had, just in the rain, just weird thing, when you're kind of busy with, got this to do, and I got to do that to do. And I don't get upset about things really, I don't think, but you get kind of pulled in 8 directions, and you're a little bit, I don't know, not frustrated, but too much to do. Well, something can happen to give you more to do you didn't count on, okay? And it usually does, right? You know what I'm talking about. This has happened to most of you if you've been around very long. And then also, as I was saying before, could be something very tragic, happen that you're, right out of the blue, because that's where it comes from. The phone rings. It seems like it always starts with a ringing of the phone. The phone rings because somebody needs to contact you about something that has happened out of the blue to somebody you know. And your phone, probably many of you, it has happened. You think about it, you've had a phone call like that. You've had one, and many of you have had more. I've had 3 or 4 of those, and you'll get them. If this has not happened to you, guess what? It's going to. It's going to. Yeah. Unless the phone call is about you, and you're on the other end of it. So anyway, not to be morbid, but appreciate your family, your friends, and what you got going, because nothing's perfect, right? And guess what? It can be a lot less perfect in a heartbeat. Okay? Young people, keep that in mind. All right, old people, keep that in mind. If you're an old people, you probably don't have to keep, well, you do already have it in mind, right? Because you've been through it. You've been through it. It's just part of life. Just like these are part of life. Bullets, the bullets of life, the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. I'm going to send a couple downrange right now too. Okay. Schofield. These came out in, see, I remember the year because I remember the first one I saw in the gun shop, and I was surprised to see it lying there, in the gun case. It was 1875. Yeah, that's when it was. 1875. Okay, can I put another one on the gong, or can I shoot at it again? Oh, that felt good. What's wrong with me? Did that hit? Okay. Okay. I know where to hold now. I just wasn't holding quite high enough. I've got to level up the sights on this thing. Not that you care, but level them up about a third of the way up on it. Okay? Those were where I was getting hits. As long as I wasn't flinching or something. How about this plate down here? And that cowboy over there. How about that cowboy again? Boom. Missed it. All right. Yeah, these really do have a cool factor. I've talked about it before. They just really do. They don't feel as good to me as a Colt single action, though. That's why you don't really see me shooting it more often, or me, praising it and slobbering over it, in a video a month. Maybe you wish I would, but I like it. They're fascinating. I wouldn't mind having a number 3 like this, an old one. Sometime this is a Cimarron reproduction. And I have looked at them. I wouldn't mind having one in an original at some point, a collector's piece. But I don't know if I will. I seem to have a hard time finding one in the chambering I want. And then, of course, it needs to be black powder. You got to get black powder ammo for it. This is 45 Colt, but none of the originals were 45 Colt. Okay, they were 45 Schofield, of all things. The Schofield was, but which is a shorter cartridge, kind of like 44 Special, but at 45. And I could shoot those in this. In fact, I've got a few 45 Schofield, but I don't need to. This has longer chambers. It's like a lot of the 1873 Winchester reproductions. Okay, 1892 reproduction. A lot of those old Winchesters that are being remade now and have been for a long time. A lot of them are chambered in 45 Colt. Why? It's such a popular caliber. It's a caliber of the Old West. It goes back to 1873. So even though the Winchesters, the lever guns, were not chambered in them back then because it had such a small rim, the new ones are. Okay, and same with the Smith & Wessons. The Smith & Wessons back then, like this, and Schofield's, which was a Smith & Wesson, were not chambered in 45 Colt, the long cartridge. All right. So, you're not going to find this gun exactly like this, even in an old one that was made in 1875. It's going to be chambered in 45 Schofield, shorter chambering. Or an older Smith & Wesson like this is going to be in 44 Russian, 44 American. You get some of those cartridges. So it's not like, even if I have a bunch of black powder 45 Colt cartridges, which I do have some, there's no old Smith & Wesson I could fire them in. None. There's none. Tell me if I'm wrong, you other historians. you folks who watch, who actually know the firearms history better than I do. I don't think there are any Smith & Wessons chambered for that. Back in the 1800s, or even, I don't know what, up in let's see, 45 Colt. Yeah, was the here I am having to think now. Work myself into these corners. So I guess the first Smith & Wesson double action, or big double action, big Smith & Wesson revolver that took a 45 Colt. I'm thinking of Colt revolvers, with the early new service revolvers. The 1917 took the 45 ACP Smith & Wesson, used World War I, World War II. So 45 Colt, I'm thinking there was one before that. Am I just not thinking of it, drawing a blank? I think they're all 44. You get the 44 triple lock, 44 special. I guess the 45 Colt, it wasn't until like the models 25, right? The end frames started being built. Okay. I'm just not thinking of something perhaps. I had to tax my brain there on the spur of the moment. But anyway, most of what I said was true. There's a good qualifier. If I ever become president of the United States, I'll remember that line. Well, after every speech. Well, I don't know if any of that was right, but I think most of what I said was true. How's that? That might beat some presidents, right? That might be pretty good for some presidents. So, but anyway, the Schofield is a neat revolver. The level of cool there is really, really high. I was about to get to a point before I worked myself into a corner there with knowledge I wasn't sure of. The grip has never felt as good, nearly as good to me as a Colt single action grip. It ain't bad. It sort of has grown on me over the years, but it's one reason I'm not a huge fan of the Remington, either, because it's kind of a longer grip and has a different feel to it. I like the old Colt plow handle, and obviously a lot of people do. I'm not unusual. Even though I have large hands, you would think I might prefer some of the others. But pretty neat. The way they work, I always was fascinated by the top brake revolvers. And that's one of the main reasons I have this. I just think they're extra cool. And made a lot of sense. And this thing has worked. That cylinder, just the way it turns, it's like it's free floating and it's like it's broken. But it's not, it's always worked fine, I believe. So, can I shoot one more time? And I probably have gone way too long here. I'm going to let you go get out of here. All right. Was there anything I was going to talk about that you were dying to know about? I got to open up another box of ammo. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Marlin video this week. Speaking of big bullets, a 4570. It's kind of cool to get a Ruger-made Marlin out here and take a look at it and shoot at some. It's good to see Ruger making those, and I think it is going to be a slow process. We're not going to see a lot of those for a while. It's a word I get. Of the other models. And I don't know about that particular one, the guide gun. I don't know how slow they're going to be on those. Apparently, it's like a lot of guns. They can't meet the demand, and that's why you see them on Gunbroker for crazy prices, because people who have gotten one somehow, they know they can turn a buck. It's just like ammo. And I know it makes a lot of people really, really mad. I don't like it necessarily either, but again, I come down on the side of freedom. Everything is messy, no matter what. It can be messy one way or the other. Without freedom, less freedom than we should have is really messy, dangerous. And with more freedom maybe than we can handle, it gets messy. But I'll take that messy, okay? I'll take people who, the freedom. If you go buy a box of ammo that's hard to find and you go put it on auction site and you triple your money and nobody else can find it for a decent price, it's not good. But again, it's a free society, it's a free market, and what are we going to do? We're going to say, what if I got a gun on order? Something that is kind of hard to get, but I ordered it like 3 months ago. Mine finally came in. I got it, whatever it is, and they're really hard to find, and they sell for $800, let's say. But everybody wants them. Nobody can find one. Well, I should be able to put that dumb gun on Gunbroker if I want to, and if it sells for $2,000, so be it. I mean, I don't really do that kind of thing, but it's a free country, and if somebody's wanting to pay, it's a free exchange, a deal, two consenting adults. If somebody wants to give me $2,000 for that gun I paid $800 for, who am I to refuse them? And who are you, or who is Joe or my brother or whoever, to tell me I can't do it? So we may not like it, but it's a free country, I guess. So anyway, long way around the barn again, that stuff I know does happen. And I have to say, I've been guilty at times on Gun Broker, buying a gun. It's usually not a new gun, but a gun that I know is a little overpriced, but it's something that I've been looking for and I really want it. You can't find them, and this one is it's in good shape. It's exactly what I'd like to have, and maybe I had to pay $300-400 more than really I might have to pay for if I just waited 2 years and kept looking or something. You know, so I've probably overpaid for a gun or two, you know, like that. And maybe many of us have. I don't know. It's just the market. It's starting to rain now. What in the world? Thought the wind was going to be an issue. Well, nature is destined to shut me up, huh? Quick. So I've enjoyed Schofield shooting it today. I have. I thank you all for making me do the Sunday videos. Okay, making me. I started to say suggesting. I don't know if anybody suggested it or not, but I appreciate you all coming out, giving me an excuse to do this, because it doesn't just enable me, it causes me, and in a way it forces me to think, and you know, again, you get busy and with life and everything else, and end up not just enjoying a gun that you haven't shot for a while, really. And you know, as ironic or strange as it might seem, somebody who is in the gun business, I'm not necessarily in the gun business like a retailer, but it's really easy when you get inundated with things to do, you know, whatever business you're in. You got into that business because you enjoyed it, and then you get so busy, it becomes less enjoyable. I have talked to so many people over the years that they were shooters like you or me, love guns, love to shoot, and their dream was to open a gun shop, maybe, okay, and they finally did. And guess what? They don't have time to shoot. Retail drains your life. If you have a retail business, you know what I'm talking about. Just everything there is to do with a retail store of any kind, restaurant, whatever. And I really have. I've talked to people, you know, just, hey, we want to go shoot that, or go shooting. Yeah, I'd like to. I never can get shooting anymore. You know, they're open 6 days a week, and then the one day they're not open, or whatever, they're got things to do with family or catch up with things, and, or a lot to do with the company, you know, and so you have to be careful of that. Yeah, that's something to be aware of. You know, you think you always wanted, I don't know, you love cars, and you're pretty handy, you can work on them and everything, so you always wanted to open up a garage or work on cars or something, or customize them or something. Well, I don't know, you get that going, and you might be so busy with it, you get sick of cars, right? Can happen. So I'm fortunate that I'm not really at risk of that, because you get to shoot. But anyway, my point, I got down this trail talking about that, coming out and just enjoying any gun I want to every Sunday. And of course, I do it during the week too. But if I don't, Sunday is scheduled. It's like a scheduled fun time in a way, you know, to talk to you all and to shoot some firearm I want to shoot. Yep. So I thank y'all for that. It kind of works out really, really well. Got 120 times I've done that, you know, just bring out something I want to shoot. And I had literally today, I had 3, 4, 5 different firearms I was kind of anxious to shoot, and I'll shoot those probably this week. You know, bring one of them out next Sunday, or a different one. I don't know. It depends on my mood. Like next Sunday, I might not be. Maybe I wouldn't have been as interested in shooting the Schofield, for example. You know, just you know how that is. Your mood changes, and you know, it's often something I haven't shot for a while, but sometimes it's something I've been shooting, then I just want to shoot some more. I forgot how much I enjoyed it, or I just didn't get it shot enough. You know, that has happened. So spray a little Ballistol in that thing, let it be soaking. And for you new shooters, that always is good. Whatever lube or cleaner you use, a little time soaking is always good. Doesn't hurt a thing. Well, providing what you're using isn't too crazy strong. I used to use, what was it, gun scrubber, birchwood case, hop. There's a lot of good cleaning materials out there and solvents and things, and some of it's stronger than others. And you have to be, you know what, read the directions. You gotta know what you're using, what you're doing. Make sure you're not ruining your bluing, or your nickel plating, or your wood, or you know, whatever it might be, your engraving, or your gold plating on your firearm, your polymer, you know, whatever it might be. Because some of them are very good at maybe getting the lead out, or good at getting lead out of the barrel or something, but they're also good at getting the finish off the gun. So just be aware of what you're using. One reason I like this, because it's kind of mild in the way it acts and reacts and everything. You're not likely to do any damage with it, and kind of cures the metal, and lead doesn't seem to stick to it as tightly. I kind of like it. So anyway, so I can soak it down. I can soak down the wood or the finish and not think about it, and put it back in the sock and go clean it. Yeah, soak it down, clean it when I'm ready, which is usually right after I do these. Or sometimes I'll clean them the next morning after, if I soak it down, and just but mostly with this, I go ahead and clean them. It's the regular videos we do that sometimes we finish, or like it's almost dark and everything to do, clean up and get everything put away, maybe go eat, whatever, and I'll soak things down, and then the next morning I have a cleaning party, and did a video on one of those once, right at the shooting table. But I make sure everything is wiped down. It's soaked. I'll generally open up the action and soak it, you know, just spray it with Ballistol and, you know, everything. There's definitely no damage going to be done, especially if it's like an AK with ammo that's supposed to be non-corrosive, but who knows, sometimes I don't trust that. So I really will take that apart, soak it, you know, and then finish it off maybe the next day or something. But I don't want any firearm to deteriorate in any way. I don't want the powder residue, and with modern powder, it's generally not an issue. But you know, I just don't want to lose any. I don't want to go backwards with any firearm at all in terms of its condition, you know, from shooting. The only wear that should occur on any of my firearms really is from the bullet going down the barrel, or the action opening or something, not because of dirt, residue, black powder, corrosive powder, and none of that. Okay, so I can neutralize that by, you know, spraying it, and then if I'm not going to get to the cleaning job right away. That doesn't mean I want to leave it for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That's not advisable. Okay, although I know some of you tell me people take pride in how many times they have shot their Glock 19 without cleaning it. You know, I got 10,000 rounds and no cleaning. And you know, modern guns, typically with modern powder, you know, they're not going to rust because there's powder residue in there or anything. But, you know, I don't do that. I don't, like, why? You know, I might need to go to war next week with that gun. I want to clean. I want to clean. So I'll let you go. I've rambled a long time. I'll bet I've almost set a record today. I'm sorry. But it's the nice weather. It's so balmy, you know. Wow. Just seems like it's been a long time since I could stand out here in a short sleeve shirt and, you know, and be comfortable. It's really nice. So it's been good to see you, and I will hopefully see you next week. Behave yourself. Check out the videos. I've still got a lot of people tell me they're unsubscribed and they're just not seeing videos. And somebody said, I don't know what the problem is. I'm not getting your videos. I'm not getting your videos. What's wrong with you? Or something like that. It's like I'm not sending them to him. Hey, I don't know. Ring the bell, subscribe, go to the channel and look at recent videos. See if there's anything you missed. I don't know. It's simple enough. Go to a channel page on somebody's videos and But generally, I think about everybody when you click videos, it lists them in order of most recent to later. I mean, it's just what I do. So I see what people have been doing that I've missed. And anyway, it's not brain surgery, or I couldn't do it, right? So it's been good to see you, and I appreciate you. Now I hope you're spraying for ticks, because we're back into tick season now. I have sprayed pretty well, and I expect you all to do the same thing. I don't want your blood getting sucked out just because you're watching our videos. Life is good.